All right, welcome everybody. I'm Wes Warren. I'm here with Greg Stanley, and today's topic is, oh, it's always something. This comes up a lot, especially with dealing with staff. When we're having a bad month, they'll always have some reason, right? Those reasons could be, it's a holiday month, or it's Christmas, it's tax season, it's virtually every month you could come up with some kind of excuse. One of the other ones is the kids are out of school, or the kids are just graduating. I've heard kids are going back to school, so August is a bad month. I've heard basically every excuse, almost covering the whole every month of the year. And I guess, Greg, what is a good excuse? Is there a good excuse in your mind if you were evaluating this? Are there valid excuses?
I think we need to look at it a different way. First problem I think we really have is that so often a doctor holds the keys of accepting excuses. In the corporate world, there are no excuses. Some executive is brought in and beheaded in front of everybody. In dentistry, we go, oh, well, summer, good, got it, And then it's like you said, it's Easter. What are we going to do? It's Easter. It's spring break. It's summer on, summer off. 4th of July. There's so many holidays, probably going to be more holidays going forward. And we just kind of say, the doctor says, well, okay, but you don't realize you're saying okay to a year of excuses when you start that process. So we're not going to suggest just killing somebody because of a summer slowdown or Easter slowdown. Killing somebody is not really the whole answer. But number one, you got to quit accepting excuses. Number two, you got to make sure somebody is responsible. And number three, you got to have a plan. Like, what are we going to do? And you know what? Sometimes this is what it means. It means more marketing, knowingly, with a smaller payoff. In other words, to keep the momentum up. So we really benefit in the times between these excuses. We've got to keep the momentum of don't let the momentum die because you're buying excuses. So marketing has to be considered when you're trying to fight this problem. One of them I really hate was staffing, because I have to admit, the best people we worked with felt the COVID staffing crisis. But short of that, being willing to pay money and offer the benefits, etc., most people overcame that one. But this whole idea of excuses based around events, I'd like to hear what you have to say about that, Wes.
There are legitimate excuses. We work with doctors that work in resort towns. And yeah, half the town is gone, in summer it's a ski resort. And yeah, it affects their income. That's a legitimate, I would call that a legitimate excuse. There are practices that take a bunch of time off, like in December. So December is going to be very tough for you to hit a good month in December. But it's really because you're taking more time off. It's not because patients don't have money. This excuse in December is patients are buying Christmas gifts and stuff. And that's why we're having a bad month. No, there really is no real good excuse outside of you living in a resort town. The only other one really would be you're taking time off. Yeah, that's going to be a bad month, but it's only because you're taking time off. All the other ones that I've heard over the years just don't pan out. I've heard it where, like, election anxiety, I've heard all kinds of goofy stuff, and of course we work with a lot of practices. If these things were legitimate, you would see them in multiple practices, if not all of them, and you just don't.
Let's sum this up in a different way. Let's say you have the ideal time where there's no event to compete with, right? Okay, you're competing with other doctors, and the busyness that parents have, moving kids around, blah, blah. They have the normal distraction. You set an offer and you tune that offer, like whatever your discount is, whatever your offer is, you tune it to the times. Well, there's times when that offer is going to have to get a lot better. And you're going to have to throw more in to the mix to get the people to continue to flow through regardless of the problems. I've seen doctors have their biggest month in December. They'll do things with email to people about, that have open treatment, etc. And it's their biggest month. I would say that, let's say a practice that was doing 150,000 a month, I've seen them do 250 in December. And maybe they profited on it percentage-wise a bit less, but it put more money in their pocket and made more people happy than anything else.
I've seen people, Greg, double the bonus for the month. So in months that are known to be slacker months for whatever reason, and everybody just got it in their head that it's just not going to be a good month, because it's never a good month in August here. Everybody, all the parents are going, kids back to school, and when your team just wraps it up, yep. By nature, they kind of want to do that. So they're always kind of looking for excuse. You know what I mean?
If the doctor really wants to buy into it, that's another problem.
Yeah, I was going to say, in those months where your team is kind of bought into the excuse, they really believe it, we'll double the bonuses. So just to prove to everybody, no, that's not the case.
I've gotten to see doctors' faces while that was presented to them. I know kind of what's going on in their brain. When they hear that from you, they go, yeah, that would work. But is that okay? They literally act like, man, that's strange behavior. It's really thinking outside the box. Doubling that bonus. What if somebody took advantage of me? Well, there's always that risk, but I can tell you from being inside their heads during that time, it's a new thought, and they don't know if that's okay, if that's safe to go forward. Double bonus, discount, bigger discount to patient, even different hours. For example, the get ready for Christmas, I've seen them do longer hours in the week leading up to Christmas to try to accommodate. Yeah, kind of the takeaway here, I hope, is you got to think different if you don't want to be constantly disrupted.
Yeah, so even in these offices that have seasonal, truly seasonal, there are things that we do in those offices to compensate. And we kind of gave you some a little extra marketing dollar spent in those times, higher bonuses, bigger discounts on large treatment plans. So, there's nothing more expensive than a bad month. Nothing. Yeah, if you're doing 150 and you're coming in looking like you're going to do 110, there's very little to recover from that. It's almost, I would say, almost a zero profit month is what it probably looked like on a P&L, or very close. And by adding $2,000 into bonuses and an extra $1,000 or $1,500 into marketing, makes it out to be a decent month at 160 or 155 or even 145. Yeah, it cost you an extra $4,000 for that, but you didn't lose 30 of your net, 30,000 of your net.
You should probably be happy that the cost you had to pay was money out of pocket, as opposed to working 18-hour days for 30 days or something. The cost was, okay, you get more, you get more, you get more if we can do this. And you'll be surprised. You can control your outcomes. Don't buy into the excuse network, because once you do, there's an excuse for almost every month. I mean, the excuse can even be, we're still reeling from Easter and it's June. I've even heard that one.
I've heard just even months where there is really nothing going on, like October. I've heard, well, October's always bad for us. It's always bad. Once they buy into that, they just a month that they can just kind of give up, put it on autopilot and mail it in. And that's what they'll do to you. And you've got to try to put a broom in their spokes and get the outcome, because there's nothing more expensive than that month continuing to be bad.
And you're kind of talking in positives here, as opposed to you getting angry or upset or threatening. Hey, this had better not, I know it's Thanksgiving, but we've got to blah, 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 and threatening. It's more of a positive. Hey, if we can do 10 or 20% above last November, I'm going to pay better bonus,
Yeah,
Keep it
Yeah.
positive.
yeah. And stop buying into the excuses, Greg. That's kind of the message here.
Holiday interruption. Between Wes, the holiday interruption and the after holiday interruption, well, we're still reeling from the, it's pretty much who you've become, you're stunted and we've blamed the holidays. Let's step outside of that thinking. Get on the phone, call us up, and let us show you how to plan your way around this problem, this holiday, or the next one, and we'll show you. You can set records in the face of what you used to accept excuses for.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.